What's going on, everybody? Parker Johnson here. Happy to have you for some MLS Next Pro Western Conference action on this beautiful Saturday evening in the land of 10,000 lakes. Minnesota United FC 2 and Colorado Rapids 2 are separated by 8 places in the Western Conference standings, but there's only 7 points separating them. And in fact, 11th place Minnesota actually has a better goal difference than 3rd place Colorado this year, including a 2-0 win when these two sides met back in April. But a lot has changed since that match, so let's start by looking at the players who will be involved tonight as we look for a little more clarity out west. Minnesota United FC 2 lines up in the 3-5-2 formation under head coach Jeremy Hall. And it will be a strike partnership of Luke Hilly and Logan Dorsey. Dorsey going against his former academy, the Colorado native. And keep an eye as well on Kip Keller in the back, a first-teamer working his way back from injury. He's provided some great leadership as he gets a 3rd start in a row tonight alongside Britton Fisher and John Anderson Ferris. Now let's flip over and take a look at the Colorado Rapids 2 lineup, led by head coach Eric Boucher in their 4-3-3 formation. You look at that midfield 3, and you can expect to see Sidney Wathuta, number 47, playing in the more advanced number 10 position. He plays underneath a front 3 that comprises Anthony Garcia on the left, Rogelio Garcia making his 2nd straight start on the right, and Mamadou Bilo Diop getting the nod up top tonight in replacement of rising star of the match week, Colton Swan, who has since departed to start his collegiate soccer journey. So a little bit of a new look for Rapids 2 up top, but a very dangerous front line for the visitors tonight. As I mentioned, Rapids are 3rd in the standings in the Western Conference, but they have played a couple more games, 3 more games to be exact, than Minnesota United. So you look at the 7-point difference between these teams, and it could be made up in an absolute flash. If you look at the points per game that these teams are earning, Colorado Rapids 2 with 1.6 points per game, Minnesota United 1.4 this season. So really not a lot between these two teams. Minnesota United with a 2-0 victory the first time they met this season. And if you look at the series history, Minnesota United has been a bit of a bogey team for Eric Boucher and Colorado of late. Over the last 2 seasons, they've got a 4-0 record with 4 straight wins and 4 straight shutouts in this Western Conference rivalry. So Colorado looking to break that snide tonight. They're coming off back-to-back winless results against 2 of the top teams, neck and neck with them at the top of the Western Conference. They had a comeback victory that St. Louis City 2 notched over them with 3 goals in the final 10 minutes of that match. A heartbreaking defeat for Colorado at home. They followed that up with a 1-1 draw against North Texas, but lost in the penalty shootout. So they haven't won in their past 2, but they have picked up a lot of points this season. 3 wins and 4 before that. You look at Minnesota United's recent form, just 1 win in their last 8 matches. And they've got a 1-4 record at home. That was offset, though, by them winning their first 4 games of the year, all on the road. And so putting those points on the board early has still kept them in striking position, even amid that little mid-season dip that we've seen. But we're just across the halfway point in the MLS Next Pro season. And these are 2 teams that really have eyes on those top 4 places in the Western Conference. All it would take is a short run of form, and they could catch fire. As we get started from National Sports Center Stadium in Blaine, Minnesota, Parker Johnson and the rest of our MLS Next Pro team here with you live on MLSNextPro.com and on YouTube. So happy that you've joined us tonight. Both teams have first teams in MLS play as we speak as well. So that, of course, has made an impact on these lineups as there's an early cross from Minnesota United in the light blue home kits, and it's sent behind by Colorado for an early corner for the home side. Match today presided over by Caitlin Trowbridge. as it is Kurt Koloff who goes over to take this corner for the Twos. Leading assist man on the season for Minnesota. Sent in high, draws out the goalkeeper, and it's an early goal within the first minute. Minnesota United off to a flying start. Well, the boards are tumbling, but the Twos in front. I believe that it will be Luke Hilly who claims the goal. Watch 39 rise up, and he gets there in front of Zach Campagnolo, who's frustrated. May have lost the ball in the glare, but in truth, he was not getting there before Hilly. And the boards collapsing, much like the Colorado goalkeeper, as Minnesota takes the early lead. Wow, what a fast start for Jeremy Hall's side. Sort of the opposite to the story of a few of their recent games. It's been Minnesota giving up goals on set pieces that has really frustrated Coach Hall in that run of one win in the last 8 matches. But they get on board with the early tally for Hilly, and that will take him into the lead on the season as well. 4th goal of the MLS Next Pro campaign for the 22-year-old forward. Originally came through the North Carolina FC Academy, played collegiately in the Triangle area as well, NC State, and then transferred to the University of North Carolina. But he has been a dominant aerial presence this season for the Twos. That was his 38th shot of the season. 18 of them, more than half have, or almost half I should say, have come on headers. For Colorado, in the white jerseys with the maroon shorts, they will be looking for an early response. This was certainly not in the scripts for the visitors. They were able to come back from a 1-0 deficit against North Texas, but that was later on in the second half. Now a chance for Wathuda. He's got green grass in front of him, and Rogelio Garcia to his right. Garcia crowded out by 3 Minnesota defenders. Koloff tips it for Martinez. Taken off of his toes as Strelnauer, and breaking through. It's a shot from Anthony Garcia. The Honduran winger starts on the left today, and we can immediately see the influence as well of Sidney Wathuda in that build-up for Colorado. Rizvanovic going long from the goal kick. They had it set up to go short, but the pressure from Colorado and Minnesota just deciding to play it safe with this early and perhaps a little bit unexpected 1-0 lead. Just to go back to the goal as well, or you know, we'll do that in a moment. It's Anthony Garcia coming forward, pressuring the back line, forced back though, as Kip Keller senses the danger and steps in right on time. But just to go back to the goal, it was truly not a very dangerous situation that Minnesota created. They just went long off the kickoff, and it was Colorado who made a mess of the clearance and caused that corner in the first place. Here comes another service from Minnesota. Sent in from the right by Putt, and a nice volley from Hilly, who's playing with confidence early on. A clean strike, but Campagnolo safely behind it. Stevie Flores tossing the throw in, got his 50th career start for Rapids too in that match against North Texas. Stalwart at right back, one of the first names always on the team sheet. The only man to ever make more appearances for the second team than Flores is Dauda Amadou, and he is on the bench tonight for the first time this season. Here's Strelnauer. Spots Rogelio Garcia. And set off to Flores. Thinks about a shot, thinks better of it. And drops it back for Sinanu. Patient build for Colorado. Multiple chances to move it forward. And they pushed it back to the center backs, but then it's Chan Tak who got a slight bit impatient. Not on the same page there as Wathuda and Anthony Garcia. Sinanu, trouble getting the ball away again, and as Hilly breaks past the back line. He takes this ball out wide, looking for support. He's got Dorsey through the middle, and will drop it back to Kurt Coliff as Minnesota United will get their foot on the ball in the attacking half. Played forward by Putt, intercepted by Chan Tak, who sticks the foot back in, but Putt wins it right back. Chance for the Rapids to move in transition. Perfectly timed challenge from Ferris. Rogelio Garcia looked like he had some space to sprint in behind. The pass a little bit too close to the 17-year-old center back Ferris. One of several academy products in this starting lineup today. Loose back pass and calling Campagnolo out of his goal. Not much he could do there other than send it out for a throw-in, and ended up in a much less dangerous location, but it will be Minnesota ball as Coliff on the turn. Goes into the box, stabbed away by Vincent Rinaldi, who will be joining his teammates in the college ranks before long here. But for now, still in the starting lineup, a center back at 18 years old, and Coach Boucher told me that he's a player that he wants to keep seeing how he will respond to tests, because everything that's been thrown at him in the Next Pro ranks, he's been able to succeed and pass those tests and look the part. Back in the lineup today as Keller launches it in. Not dealt with well on the first ball as Hilly has another hit. Open shot and a foot save from Campagnolo. It does go off of Minnesota last. And a sigh of relief for Rapids too, as we will get another look at this play. It all comes from the long throw in, not dealt with well. Hilly can't keep it on target, but look at the space open up there. For Britton Fisher, the center back. Not the first player you'd probably choose for it to fall to in the box if you're Jeremy Hall, but looked like his effort was guided towards goal before the intervention from Campagnolo. Lofted up, back post, now Hilly playing it across. Ran out of room to try to put that on frame himself, but couldn't pick out a teammate. So it's Coliff. Has a man at the back post, and just in time, Flores gets a touch. It's out to Rogelio Garcia. Moving on the break, able to keep it alive for Wathuda, who runs back into his right winger, and the whistle will sound from Caitlin Trowbridge. But Rapids getting it back in play quickly. Kept in play by Bilo Giop momentarily. Couldn't get back around the defending Ferris, rather. And another goal kick here for Minnesota. This portion of the match is brought to you by the experts at Allina Health, an altogether better kind of healthcare. Learn more at allinahealth.org. Alpha Kabia presiding on the ball in midfield, dropping it back to Keller. Adrian Martinez forced to the touchline, clipped forward in the direction of Koloff. And down goes Sinanu, who will once again play it quickly for Colorado. Clearly a part of the game plan tonight to try to keep the ball in play and get those dead balls back in action. Trying to use the pace and creativity, directness that is in this Eric Boucher side to their advantage, but this will trickle out for a goal kick, and it's been that final connection missing in the early stages for Colorado. They've broken through midfield lines well when they've been able to turn Minnesota over. But it's a different connection tonight, missing Colton Swan up top, the rising star of the match week after his equalizing goal against North Texas. Swan enrolled at Indiana University, of course a powerhouse college program, producing a number of super draft picks, MLS NEXT Pro stars that we've seen all throughout the league this season. And he's been named Rising Star of the Match Week a couple of times. He will end his season as it swung into the box here for Wathuda, dropping it off. Strelnauer. Flores. And sent in from Pinto, but soft in the end as Rizvanovic has no trouble with that shot from Malik Pinto. Swan will end his season 4 goals, 2 assists. Ranks in a tie for first on this Colorado team in terms of goals in the Next Pro campaign. Kamani Stewart-Baines also has 4, but he's not involved tonight as the first team is traveling to play New England Revolution. Early look at how this game has tilted early on, and a lot of those shots for Minnesota coming off of set piece opportunities. The goal early on from the corner, a couple of chances created from those long throw-ins as well, and the bits of play that followed immediately after. But it's been a pretty even share of the ball between the two. Just that early mistake, a botched clearance that resulted in a cheap corner. And as they say, cheap corners often are expensive. It was the case for Colorado Rapids. Luke Hilly with the first minute goal that separates us through 15 minutes here in Blaine, Minnesota. Fisher gives it away to Garcia, but he's able to win it back with a strong challenge through the back. Did it cleanly as well. Koloff has the switch on for Putt. And an underlapping run now from Kip Keller, showing his ability to move and break some lines on the dribble. Slicing through. Kieran Chandler making inroads up the left. He is the left wing back in this 3-5-2 system for Jeremy Hall. Plenty of freedom to get forward. Chandler's got 3 assists this season, and so much of that creativity does come up the left side for Minnesota. Martinez has space to look up and find Troy Putt one-on-one with Chantak. Wanted to serve it up for Hilly. Always a good option. Dealt with by Colorado at the back. And it's back in possession with Ferris for Minnesota United. Strelnauer deftly done from the back. In the shadow of his own goal. Colorado able to play it out. Wathuda over the top. A chase is on for Anthony Garcia and Kip Keller. The experienced first-team center back winning that duel. And down goes Troy Putt. Late stab in there from Jaden Chantak. Just watch after Putt releases this ball. He draws in Chantak to the last moment. And as he drops it off for Kabia, the Colorado 17-year-old leaving a little bit extra on him. Bilo Giap, the flag is up, and now the referee has spotted it. But Caitlin Trowbridge blowing this one back for a foul that occurred before the pass was delivered, and Giap was in the offside position. Break there for Colorado, and some spot-on refereeing. Malik Pinto getting it back into play. Here is Pinto on the half turn. Has it into the feet, pop forward to Wathuda. Can't bring it under his spell, and that is a rare statement for the former Vermont man. Here comes Bilo Giap again. Flores looking for options and pushing it back to Sinanu. Now he's got Rogelio Garcia. It does eventually find the winger. Forward he goes, through the legs, and off of the defender. Colorado Rapids 2 earning their first corner kick of the match. And hoping that theirs shall be as successful as Minnesota's first corner kick was. Great work there on the byline from Rogelio Garcia. He got his first start of the season in the last match against North Texas. Did enough to earn his spot and retain that place in the starting lineup as dueling Garcias are the starting wingers for Colorado. It's Pinto to take the corner. Puts it right on the 6-yard box. Second ball fought for and won't track it down in time. This portion of the match is brought to you by Allianz Life Insurance Company of North America, proud worldwide insurance partner of the International Olympic and Paralympic Committees. Bilo Giap thought he had a pass on there, looking to rotate it out to Garcia on the quick regain from Minnesota. And did not value the possession enough at the edge of his box, but Colorado have it back here. Strelnauer. Anthony Garcia. Garcia floating inside to find it. But Minnesota United plugging all of the gaps. They play that 3-5-2 alignment as it's over the top here. Wathuda, the first touch was brilliant and then couldn't get it out from under his feet after he controlled it so well, but he tracks the ball down in the corner. He's got Flores and Garcia for help. Edge of the box, Wathuda has a hit. Now back to goal, looking for Chantak. It's tackled away. And the twos stride forward. Troy putt. Space opens up for Hilly. Oh, the touch was behind him, but still a shooting chance. Cleared off the line from Sinanu. Now it's Koloff. Somewhere between a shot and a cross, as Griffin Dorsey was right there. Sorry, Logan Dorsey. A couple of huge chances for Minnesota United. They run the counter so well. The run from Dorsey to open up the space for Hilly. And the first touch lets him down. He still has a chance at goal. Sinanu did so well to get back to his line. I think Koloff is passing that. He doesn't hit through it with his laces, so you have to imagine that he was trying to disguise the shot and slide it across on the doorstep, but alert goalkeeping from Zach Campagnolo. And now the free kick comes in. An awkward clearance. Keller. Pinto. Does enough to force Martinez back as Colorado able to get out from their defensive half. Just over the halfway mark here in the first half. Early goal from Luke Hilly. There's been certainly chances for more for Minnesota. Playing their 6th home match of the season, just 1-4 through the first 5. It's been a very unique split this year for the Twos. They got a 4-win, 1-loss, 2-draw record on the road after winning their first 4 games of the season away from the friendly confines here of National Sports Center Stadium. But Jeremy Hall, he wasn't too bothered when I mentioned to him that run of form since those opening 4 wins. He said that stylistically, his team has been improving even as the results have not come their way. He said it's all about how you write that narrative. If you pick the start date and choose that it's 1 win in the last 8, he says, you know, he would add some context to that and say that they've given up some soft goals, they've given up some penalties, but if you look at their overall performances, they've played really well over the past few weeks. And Coach Boucher on the other side would agree. He told me that Minnesota United, as tough a test as it gets. And Dorsey showing that as we speak. Now the shot comes in and another huge block, a goal-saving block from Sinanu. He has been involved in every way possible in this match so far, truly. He set up the opening corner that led to the goal. He's since saved a pair of them off the line. Chandler will deliver an in-swinging corner. Whipped beautifully in. Header off the crossbar as Cavia was searching for his first goal of the season. With Campagnolo coming out, the goal was beckoning, and Cavia just couldn't keep it down enough. Had a lot of work to do to head it from about 15 yards. But he will certainly want that one back. As, again, we have Minnesota threatening the goal and doing it on the set pieces. Campagnolo has looked a little bit shaky coming off of his line in the early going. This will be an offside against Anthony Garcia. Amused at the tardiness of the call, if not the actual decision. Grateful cloud cover shrouding the players in the midway point in this first half. It was about 84 degrees at kickoff. There was some rain this morning in the area, so definitely a muggy summer Saturday. This 7 p.m. local time kickoff. There's a look at how things have gone so far. An impressive 5 shots on target from Minnesota United. They've really put all their chances on goal. There's been some saves from Campagnolo. There's been saves from the defenders off the line as well. And at the moment, I think the twos will be wishing that they had at least one more on the scoreboard for the work they've done through the first 30 minutes. Just a 1-goal lead. Things could change in a flash. Sitting with Thuda. The man given the playmaking responsibilities tonight in that number 10 position. Second in the entire country in assists last year. He played his college ball at Vermont, the 2024 national champions. 14 assists coming in the first 18 games of the season for Vermont. Just an unreal output. And he only scored 1 goal. He was still up there in terms of the amount of shots he took, but more often the provider than the goal scorer. And early on in his Rapids career, 3 goals and 2 assists to his name through just 8 appearances. He's done that in just 5 starts. And across the last 6 matches, he's been one of the most decisive players in the team. With a little less of Kamani Stewart-Baines around, he's had 3 goals and 1 assist in the past 6 matches with Thuda. Headed on here from the long ball as Minnesota United once again causing trouble from a set piece. It's a simple long ball from the halfway line, and Britton Fisher got the perfect flick on. But credit to Colorado staying alert on the second ball. Rolled into the feet of Anthony Garcia. Wathuda carries. Chantak arriving. Pinto pivots as it's reset through Matthew Kofi Sinanu. Anthony Garcia alone in behind now. Collapsed on by Fisher, and it's out for a throw. This portion of the match is brought to you by Target. Target is here for the love of the Loons. Chantak struggling to decide on the route in from the throw. But he'll have a chance here to do it again. Deep in the Minnesota half. Came into the starting lineup for Anderson Hossa tonight. A first-round draft pick from Colorado. One of 5 first-round selections that they had in the 2025 Super Draft. And that's been the cause for this quick rebuild for Rapids too. Talk about a team that a couple years ago finished the top seed in the West, made it all the way to the conference finals. Eric Boucher named the 2023 Next Pro Coach of the Year. And then they go first to worst last season, dropping all the way down to the bottom of the conference. And the response has been there this year as they're back up in 3rd position. But as I mentioned off the top of the broadcast, it is incredibly condensed in the standings. You look at points per game, and there's a few teams below Colorado who actually have an advantage on them there. Colorado's already played 15 matches. They'll have a lighter July coming up. As it's Bilo Diop, shooting opportunity. And did he try to cut it across in the end? That misses the goal by a wide margin. You would have thought that that would be a shot, but look at how he looks across and holds out his hands as if to say, who was there? And his teammates looking right back at him, saying, why didn't you shoot it? Two goals and 1 assist on the season for Bilo Diop. He's been used as a sub in half of his appearances. Garcia flicks it in towards Wathuda. It falls for Chantak, slips it in. Offside against the Colorado left back, who came up with a creative finish at the end. And this is unfortunate for the Rapids. Let's get another look at the bounce here. It comes off of a touch from Garcia, Anthony Garcia. It was basically cleared right into him, but because it touches the Colorado man last, that will result in the offside. If it were to have bounced straight off of a defender, then he would have been unable to be offside on that play. Colorado trying to do it again as Anthony Garcia springs his way inside. Flores spacing it out to the right. Strelnauer continues his run as Flores clips it. Nobody home at the back post for Colorado. Just over 10 minutes until our halftime stoppage. An early goal from Luke Hilly. If you've joined us and tuned in a little bit late, perhaps at halftime of the MLS matches featuring the 2 first teams that we have on display with our 2 Next Pro sides tonight. Had another match wrapping up in the Western Conference as well. It's bad news for Colorado in that St. Louis City 2 getting a 1-0 win over Houston Dynamo. So that will increase the gap in the 2nd place, 3rd place race. In fact, St. Louis City claiming the top spot until Ventura County have a chance to respond. Now, St. Louis City up to 32 points and now an 8-point gap over Colorado in 3rd. But Colorado will be glad that Dynamo Dos did not get any points out of that match, as there's a tricky play out of the back, but cleaned up by Pinto. Dynamo Dos just 2 points behind Colorado again. It's so bunched up, but they are still in 5th place after that match. Wathuda, awkward touch off of Kabia, outside of the side netting, and a corner coming for Colorado. Had Bilo Giap looking to frame the goal, but it was Brayton Fisher sticking the foot in. Pinto presides, brings out the goalkeeper. Rizvanovic went down, and he was tripped by somebody, but might have even been Kip Keller, his own defender. In any case, no harm for Minnesota United, as Colorado have not been able to convert quite as efficiently as the home side on their set piece opportunities. It was certainly an area that Jeremy Hall spoke to me about, his side defending set pieces. It's been a struggle in recent weeks. It's caused them to drop a few points that he feels they shouldn't have based on their overall performances, but they've been incredibly effective on both the offensive and defensive end when it comes to those dead balls tonight. Helio Garcia on the dribble, and an awkward collision at the end of it with Ferris. It will draw a yellow card for call-off, but I think the more immediate concern is the health of his teammate. Garcia caught from behind, and then he falls right into the standing leg of Ferris. But both players thankfully back to their feet here. Look like they'll be able to continue. Malik Pinto with a lot of cards in his deck. Number 38 for Colorado over this free kick. He's got a line of players right at the edge of the 18-yard box. Perhaps could just be within shooting range if he's feeling ambitious. Bilo Giap and Rinaldi sneaking around on the near side as well. It is in the direction of Rinaldi. There was space there, but Pinto unable to find him. A little too firm on the delivery. .54 at the bottom of your screen had plenty of space. There was only one defender down there. It was Ferris, who had still smarting a little bit from the collision that led to the foul. His attention was solely on Bilo Giap, and understandably so. Rinaldi with plenty of space, but didn't get the right service from Pinto. Moved on by Martinez. Coliff casually. And it's Chandler with one fake and go, but doesn't fool Flores. Fantastic defending from the Colorado fullback. Just too experienced. Pinto caught late by Hilly. He gives an accidental hand of apology. Bilo Giap with the holdup. Run down well by Anthony Garcia. He's served as a second forward at times, running alongside Giap and willing to get in behind. Wathuda Chantak with a big touch. He gets on the end of it and can't carve out a cross. Momentum taking him past the byline. Might have been better served taking another touch there and trying to wait for a teammate to come short. But when that Colorado front four gets the ball bopping around, you can see how much creative juice there is among that front line, even without Colton Swan. Chantak looking inside. Chance for Minnesota going the other way. Dorsey wants to hold it up. He's got Martinez on the drop-off. Martinez gets it back. And Pinto close to him, caused the loose touch. Round the corner goes Anthony Garcia, looking for a nutmeg, doesn't find it. But he steps in and wins it back off of the chest there of Rogelio Garcia. And the twos, just 2 minutes here until the halftime break. Have to be wise. There's some contact in the middle. Play allowed to continue. Forward comes Martinez. And again, it's Flores to the rescue with perfect positioning. Wathuda. Hilly. Dropping into the midfield this time. Goalkeeper required to come out and grab it before the ball out for a corner. Campagnolo obliging. Got a matchup of two goalkeepers tonight who both started matches for the United States Under-18 national team in the UEFA Friendship Cup beginning of the month. Campagnolo in the Colorado goal. Started 2 matches in that competition. Rizvanovic in the Minnesota goal started the other 2, including the final. Rizvanovic making 2 saves in the penalty shootout in the final to see the U.S. to a championship over Portugal. As Wathuda with a beautiful run. Didn't have enough help, so he goes back to Chantak. Flores and Garcia combining on the right. It's Anthony Garcia who comes inside to support, and Strelnauer stepping in. Minnesota just collapsing on it, and a little bit of a hack out there from Luke Hilly is going to present a dangerous free kick opportunity as we cross into first half stoppage time. Chance for Colorado to potentially level this match and go into the break on even terms. So 2 more minutes to play. You imagine Colorado would be happy here to take as much of that as possible before this free kick gets sent in. Try to make this truly the last opportunity of the half. Pinto softly lofting, and Sinanu, certainly the best option in the air, got his head to it, but couldn't get over that cross. So we get another look. He had a little separation there from Hilly, and then there's some pressure from behind as Fisher made the header just difficult enough. It didn't give Sinanu a free leap. Sinanu standing 6'4". He's been playing men's football since he was a teenager with Indy 11. Never made any appearances in the USL Championship, but did train with them as he grew up in Plainfield, Illinois. Played college ball at North Carolina, then at Xavier before being selected in the Super Draft. That's a tough challenge on Anthony Garcia. He's going to be feeling that one when they get to the locker room. Don't think that those lavender and neon boots are going to be providing the top of his foot a whole lot of protection from a challenge like that. Ten seconds left in the first half. Can Colorado send it forward one more time? Anthony Garcia, Keller, and Koloff. They're allowed to continue here. And Wathuda, well aware of the timing and the situation. A professional foul from the first-year pro. That should just about see us to the halftime break. Pinto was caught on the ball, and Wathuda immediately putting out the fire. For his troubles, he receives another booking for Colorado. See how long that Minnesota will have here. They have provided some danger on free kicks from a similar spot. As there's a whistle as the players get organized in the box. Kane Rizvanovic certainly looking to send this one long. Raffled up, first header from Minnesota. Hilly got to it. And that takes us to the halftime break. Well, a back and forth half. The home side scoring within 1 minute of play. Luke Hilly getting his fourth goal of the season to put Minnesota United in front and put the Western Conference standings into even more chaos than they already were. But there's a lot left to be determined in this game. 45 more minutes to be played at National Sports Center Stadium. Our score at the half, Minnesota 1, Colorado 0. First half highlights and stats are coming up, but first our April Malie Aguilar sat down with a pair of Tacoma Defiance stars. The first is forward Yu Sukanome in part 1 of Player Profile.
Welcome to this edition of Player Profile. I'm April Marie Aguilar. Joining me today is Tacoma Defiance's Yu Tsukanome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So Yu, what got you into professional soccer?
私は、小さい頃は、J リーグの大宮アルディージャっていうアカデミーでプレーしていて、そこから、中学生高校はマッチクラブでプレーして、高校は普通の、高校でサッカーをしました。大学から、関西の大学に行って、そこから、全国大会3位に4年生の最後でなって、そこから、J リーグのクラブに練習を参加をしたんですけど、そこで、契約は取れなくてどうしようかなってふうに思っていた時に、アメリカに行くっていう選択肢があったのでそこに行きました。そこで、僕は NPSL リーグで、3ヶ月間プレーをして、見事、ゴールデンブーツを取ることができて、シャトルサウンダーズのセカンドチームにトライアウトに来ることができて、次の年からサインをすることができました。
So, how would you describe your playing style and what sets you apart?
はい、私の長けているところは、試合中に、頭を使ってしっかりと考えることができるところと、試合状況によって、プレースタイルを変えることができるところだと思います。あとはゴールに、直結するプレーだったりとか、アシストとかゴールを常に狙っているところが他の選手とは違うところだと思います。
How has your time in MLS NEXT Pro helped you develop and evolve as a player?
まずは、若い選手が試合に出れるっていうところの経験を積めるっていうことが、試合に出れるっていうことがすごく大事になってくると思うので、若いうちはたくさん試合に出たりすることで試合感覚だったりとかを養えると思うので、そこでたくさん試合に出れることは僕にとってはすごくいい経験だなっていうふうに思っています。
You and Azaza de Rosario are both in the race for the Golden Boot. What is both of y'all's relationship like out on the pitch?
はい、僕はあんまりそのサゼとゴールデンブーツを争っているっていう感覚はなくて、僕はチームが勝つためにサッカーをしているので、サゼのこともたくさん見ているし、僕とサゼの関係はすごくいい関係だとお互いは思っていると思いますし、はい、すごくやりやすい関係でいてます。
What does a successful season for you look like alongside Tacoma Defiance's season?
僕が、タコマでプレーしているのはやっぱり優勝したいからここに来ているので、みんなと今シーズンは去年達成できなかった優勝っていうところを目標にしてやっているので、はい、今シーズンは絶対に優勝できるように頑張っていきたいと思います。
Well, thank you so much for the time, you. We wish you all the best of luck this season. And thank you so much for you all for watching this episode of Player Profile. Be sure to tune in next time to see who I'll be speaking to next. For now, I'm April Marie Aguilar. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
This summer, the center of the soccer world is right here. The world's best, the world's game, all in your backyard. 4 major moments. One summer like no other. Learn more at MLSsoccer.com/summer.
Este verano la Leagues Cup regresa más fuerte que nunca. Comenzamos con 36 clubes. En la primera fase, cada equipo jugará contra 3 equipos de la liga rival para determinar su posición en la fase de eliminación directa.
The 4 top-seeded clubs from each league will move on, ensuring interleague matchups all the way through the quarterfinals.
3 naciones, 2 ligas y un solo campeón. En Leagues Cup 2025,
It's dominance on the line.
Action.
The youngest MLS debutant, Kevin Sullivan.
Luna.
Yes! That is a banger! Absolute scorcher! Spectacular save from Dane St. Clair.
Halftime rolls on here in Blaine, Minnesota, with Minnesota United up 1-0 on Colorado Rapids. We'll take a look at our busy upcoming schedule in a moment, but first, let's rejoin April in Tacoma, this time with midfielder Sebastian Gomez in part 2 of our pair of player profiles.
Welcome to another episode of Player Profile. I'm April Marie Aguilar. Joining me today is Tacoma Defiance's Sebastian Gomez. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you've been a part of the Sounders FC organization since 2017. How do you feel like you've evolved as a player since then?
I think throughout the whole entire time that I've been here, there's always been like DNA throughout the club, and they always remind us like to be disciplined, and throughout the whole entire club just give us like pointer tips throughout the whole time we're here. I think something that's really important is that they have like a set way of playing, and when you learn that, I think you really find success in moving up the ranks. And yeah, all the coaching staff, like, very helpful. I think each one plays a really important role in having and making your development. So it's been a very fun ride so far.
And just last year, you graduated high school,
Yeah.
scored your first professional goal, your first brace, and you played alongside Tacoma Defiance in the playoffs, all in
Yeah.
a span of a few months. What was that period of time like for you?
It was, to be honest, like the one word that came straight to my mind was electric. Like it was a great time, you know. I think I was having so many good achievements, and it was really just that momentum bringing me throughout the whole season. Just it felt good, and you know, I'm trying to bring it into this season and hopefully like finish out strong, just like last year. Like let's get a result, hopefully become champions would be great.
And you're such a young player still, but already you've just mentioned you've been able to accomplish so much. When you take a step back and you look at your journey, is there one specific moment that stands out from the rest?
I think the moment that stands out for me would be, I know this is kind of like weird for me to say this, but I think like when I got injured, because I did have quite a big injury. I had a stress fracture on my L5 vertebrae on the right, and it did put me out for quite a while. But I think like looking back at that, it really opened up doors for me, and it made me realize like I gotta fight, come back stronger. Like I've been knocked down, but how do I come back, and how do I like bring myself back up and keep pushing? I think that was actually a really important moment in my journey so far. And I think that taught me a lot of things throughout my career so far.
I love that you mentioned a moment of adversity, right? A lot of times players, they don't look forward to those moments, but those are the moments that do make you stronger.
Yeah.
You said that you've learned a lot of lessons from it. What lesson specifically just kind of resonates with you?
Just always keeping your head up, trying to stay positive in times where you're down, you know, like when you don't want to do something, having the discipline to do it and getting it done, and knowing that in the future it's gonna help you in the long run. And I think that's really important, like, because everyone is gonna get knocked down in their life, and I think it's important to take away the good parts and just try and keep a positive mentality and just be hungry to get better and better.
How do you feel like your coach has played a role in this mindset of yours?
Well, H, I think, has that type of mentality too, like willingness, and like he loves to push players to their limit, and I think he's done that with me. He's helped me in that way to keep pushing to my full potential. Hammering me, I guess, like, you know, like just
keep pounding the stone.
Yeah, 100%. He's done that, and I think that's been really helpful for me.
And what can we expect to see from you next, Sebastian?
Winning the league would be great. Would be a great achievement, not just for me, but for the whole entire team. You know, that would be awesome. Individually, I think creating chances more consistently for my team. You know, scoring goals, assists. I think everyone loves to do that, but I think it's important for especially wingers and attacking players to make that difference in the game and help your team get a result.
Well, Sebastian, we wish you the very best of luck and continued success on your journey.
Thank you.
And we hope that you all enjoyed this episode of Player Profile. Be sure to tune in next time to see who I'll be speaking to next. For now, I'm April Marie Aguilar, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
MLS debutant Kevin Sullivan. Luna. Yes! That is a banger! Absolute scorcher! Spectacular save from Dane St. Clair.
Action!
Este verano, el centro del fútbol mundial está aquí. Los mejores del mundo. El deporte mundial en tu propio rincón. 4 grandes eventos. Un verano como ningún otro. Para aprender más, visite mlssoccer.com/summer.
Este verano la Leagues Cup regresa más fuerte que nunca. Comenzamos con 36 clubes. En la primera fase, cada equipo jugará contra 3 equipos de la liga rival para determinar su posición en la fase de eliminación directa.
The 4 top-seeded clubs from each league will move on, ensuring interleague matchups all the way through the quarterfinals.
3 naciones, 2 ligas y un solo campeón. En Leagues Cup 2025,
It's dominance on the line.
Thanks for sticking with us through the halftime break. Our score after 45 minutes, Minnesota United 1, Colorado Rapids 0. We're going to take a look back at our first half highlights to give you a look at how we got to that 1-0 score line. Well, we got started very fast, and this was a board-breaking header from Luke Hilly. What do I mean? Well, take a look at the replay. Oopsie daisies. An early lead for Minnesota United. 4th goal of the season for Hilly, converting on the set piece, and it was these dead ball opportunities. See the shot flashed in there by Hill again. Not 1 goal line save, but 2 needed on this occasion. I believe that one was actually a save from Campagnolo, but his defenders would come in handy later on, as there were a few different chances cleared off the line from Minnesota United. This was a big opportunity on the break. Keep an eye on Colorado's number 48, Sinanu, staying on the line, blocking that second effort away. And then as it was flashed back in, Campagnolo equal to it for the Rapids. And again, set pieces, a simple ball over the top. Dorsey causing problems for Colorado. And it's another save from Sinanu. So he was very active in the back, keeping Colorado alive, and then there were a flurry of chances late on for the Rapids. This ball ended up in the back of the net, but Chantak was offside first. And there was just a little bit of a turn of the tide as we entered that halftime period. But this is how it shaked out over 45 minutes. 9 shots to 4 in favor of the home side. They put 5 on target. Equal on corner kicks, pretty even on fouls and yellow cards. I would say in the run of play, things have been pretty balanced, but Minnesota United far more efficient when they have had the chances to break, and certainly dominant on set pieces in this match. Let's take a look at the rest of the MLS Next Pro schedule as we round out the weekend. This, of course, your last match for tonight. But tomorrow, a lot more fun stuff coming up. So, of course, tune in on Apple TV Plus, MLS Season Pass. Now, some big matchups in the Western Conference. LAFC taking on Tacoma Defiance. And that matchup at the top of the table, the Town and Ventura County. That is going to be a big one, as the Town have a few games in hand to make up. And Ventura County seeing themselves go into second place after St. Louis City 2's win earlier this afternoon. So they've got a little bit of work to do to keep up with St. Louis. And Monday and Thursday, more on hand as we roll on, approaching that, or just past really that halfway mark of the season, but a little bit imbalance from one team to another. For instance, Minnesota playing tonight, just their 13th match out of 28. This is the 16th for Colorado. At the beginning of the match, I talked about how one-sided of a series this has been over the years since 2022. We're in our 4th season in Next Pro. Minnesota United, 6 wins out of 9 against Colorado, including 4 straight shutout victories. They could make that 5 if they're able to hold on for another 45 minutes here. I have to imagine, I don't have this stat handy, but somebody from Next Pro is following along and wants to send me a note. I would love to know what the longest shutout streak in wins against the same opponent is, if Minnesota United doesn't already have the record. we could be making some history tonight. It's a 1-0 lead at the halftime break. And I've been told that there have been some halftime changes as well. There were some expected switches for Minnesota United. They have some players that they're working back from injury. So you see Kip Keller has departed. He's one of those, a first-teamer getting his fitness back. So he played from the start. He's replaced by Ty Perkins. Noor will come in as well. A new option in the front, replacing Dorsey, another one of those first-team players who is recovering and getting his fitness back. So some expected changes there at halftime, and another on the other side for Eric Boucher as Anderson Hossa comes on for Jaden Chan-Tak. Chan-Tak's the only Colorado player that was able to find the back of the net in the first half, but he was offside on that play. Hossa, a more experienced player, and here he is having to do some defending as Hilly comes forward. He's got Noor on the backside in the light blue kits of Minnesota United. Slightly more distinguishable as the sun begins to set, and we have a little cloud cover to start our second half. Parker Johnson here with you from Blaine, Minnesota, National Sports Center Stadium, where Minnesota just looking for their second home win of the season here in their 6th match at the friendly confines. Both MLS sides in action tonight. This is a rare occasion where there's a Colorado crossover. I was told by the wonderful communication staff with the Rapids, Kinsey told me that this is the first match they've ever played on a Saturday. So a historic result no matter how this goes for Colorado. Bilo Diop. An awkward bounce benefits the Colorado attack as Garcia continues, and then Chandler jumps in. Opportunistic defending as he sees it out over the touchline. Chandler, the 20-year-old, second-round draft pick out of UConn after playing just 2 seasons with the Huskies. He's a Connecticut native and a former high school All-American. Held down that left-back role for Minnesota United this year. Down goes Bilo Diop. Foul whistled against Perkins. Looks like he got some ball, but dragged Bilo Diop down in the process. So the halftime substitute whistled for an early foul, and this sets up something of a short corner for Colorado. They've, of course, got Pinto, who's a bit of a set-piece specialist, but with Hossa on the field as well, he would be a left-footed option potentially. This could be a tricky angle for goalkeepers and defenders alike, but Minnesota did well over dead balls in the first half. Pinto clips it. Very little power on the delivery. It's headed out by Minnesota. They've had the aerial advantage. See if Colorado can play with a little bit more urgency in the second half. That was the demand from Eric Boucher. Pleased with performances recently against St. Louis and North Texas. He said the results didn't necessarily show it. A loss in regulation and a penalty kick loss against those 2 top teams in the West. But he also said the standings don't lie at the end of the day, and we can't be happy with a good performance if it doesn't result in points. They had their moments in the first half, but not putting as much of a stamp on this game as they may have expected heading into it. See if Hossa can inject some life from that left back position. Work through for Wathuda. Looking to get it out wide for Garcia, and A timely step from the Minnesota back line. Here comes Troy Putt. Dispossessed by Hossa. The battles on the flanks have been very interesting as it's Colorado's left now making inroads. Around comes Rogelio Garcia. Can't keep it in play, but you got the 5-back system, or 3-back, depending how you want to look at it, of Minnesota, with the 2 wing backs, one on either side. And then you've got Colorado in the 4-3-3 setup, which means that they have the outside back on that side, and then they also have the winger, although their wingers do like to come inside. So that numbers matchup, especially when the ball gets loose in transition. Something that both coaches were keying in on before this match, and it's been interesting to see it play out. Neither team has really had a distinct advantage in that department. It's been a lot of play through the middle. But we've seen it in the opening stages of the half as there's some personnel switches, especially with the introduction of Hossa on the left. We'll see him get forward a lot for Colorado. Kane Rizvanovic is going to come into the attacking half to send this ball goalwards. Center halves moving up into the box, and Rizvanovic floating it forward, headed by Hilly. It was flicked on by Fisher. Noor was there, shoving Wathuta to the ground and drawing a corner for his side. A little bit undersized Muba Noor, but 21 years old, showing that he knows how to use that body. It's into Chandler. Koloff can float one to the back stick. Hilly almost came down with it. Strelnauer intervenes. Strelnauer, a player that has dropped into the defensive midfield position over recent matches for Eric Boucher. He played the 3rd most minutes of any player on Rapids 2 last year, but he was used primarily as a winger and a number 10. And Coach Boucher told me that they were trying him out at that more defensive position to get the most out of his physical attributes. Call him a blue-collar player and somebody who always used that to his advantage when he played in those more advanced roles. But he felt like the combination of that physicality with his natural creative spark from being a more attacking player could really help Colorado out in the midfield. See number 80 checking to the ball here. They overlook him on this occasion, but they'll need him to get a bit more involved in the build-up. If they're going to have a bit more success in possession, it's another opportunity. Rolls away from Colorado. Haven't done much to make Minnesota United uncomfortable in their defensive zones. Perkins combining with Kieran Chandler. This portion of the match is brought to you by Bell Bank. Switch and see how banking should be. Coming into the match, Minnesota United across the season held an average of 53% possession, outpossessing their opponents. And you look at Colorado Rapids, second to last in the league, 43% of the ball on average. And it clearly hasn't slowed them down. 3rd place in the Western Conference standings, but when I talked to Jeremy Hall before this match. He told me he thought his team in Minnesota were going to have more of the ball. It's been the case that Colorado has been the team with more possession. They just haven't been able to do enough with it to trouble Minnesota United. Perhaps realizing that it's a team that is not quite as comfortable with the ball as they are playing against it at times. That ability to absorb pressure and hit has led Colorado to a 4-2-2 away record this season. Certainly a team that, especially in the early part of the campaign, likes to be direct, but Coach Boucher emphasized to me that they've been working on adding elements to their attacking play, trying to get a more solid structure in the midfield that allows for more clarity for the attackers ahead of them to be creative and really express themselves. Pinto went down under the challenge, but Pinto trying to dribble through, not the best form of attack at the moment for Colorado. Ball deflects back to Rizvanovic. Stinging pass out, almost gets over the top for Hilly. Little push in the back on Vincent Rinaldi. Chance for Colorado to move it quickly, but closed down in there by Perkins. Huge presence in the middle of the park. Perkins making just his second appearance. He did a similar swap in the last match against LAFC on Wednesday night, as they had to take off Keller, and it's a shot coming in from Garcia, rolling harmlessly into the hands of Kane Rizvanovic. That match on Wednesday was Perkins' MLS Next Pro debut off the bench, so this is just his second appearance as a pro. And already showing in limited minutes since halftime that he is a force in the midfields. Ball reset back with Rizvanovic. Pressure from Koloff. Hilly joining in. And leaving the gap for Strelnauer. A casual pass out there, looking for Stevie Flores. Intercepted by Chandler, who turns on the Jets. Moves it forward to Muba Noor. Had Pinto sprawling to the ground, but it's last off of Noor. Here's another look. It does take the touch last off of the Minnesota player. Noor, born in Ethiopia, moved to nearby Brooklyn Park, and he was playing at MPSL before attending an open tryout with Minnesota United back in December, and earned himself a contract. So the long ball is going to run all the way through to Rizvanovic. This is Noor's 9th appearance of the season. Still looking for that first goal, but he's proven himself to be quite the dynamic attacking player. We get a yellow card here. See exactly what happened. Looks like they got Anthony Garcia for his defending of that throw from Rizvanovic. Certainly not the way that you want to pick up a yellow card. There are ways to get a bit more value, I would suggest, as a former player myself. But in any case, he ends up in the book. Garcia joining Sidney Wathuta as 2 Colorado attackers to be given yellow cards in this match. Hilly had 3 defenders to deal with. Bilo Diop looking to exploit the space. Slow build now from Colorado with Josa. Garcia closed down by Cabia. Quietly goes about his work, Alpha Cabia. One of 2 members of this Minnesota United team who has featured for the Sierra Leone under-20 team at this year's under-20 African Cup of Nations. Away comes Mubanur. Sinanu for company. Noor inside, back to his left, goes down, and it's a penalty for Minnesota. Noor had Kofi Sinanu twisted up, and as he goes past to his left, Sinanu with a little bit of a shove. We'll see it here. Sent to the ground, and depending on which colors you're wearing, I think that one could be interpreted in a few different ways, but the call awarded to the home team, and Minnesota making the most of that counter-attacking opportunity. Noor, the danger man, and putting Sinanu in position to resort to the last-ditch challenge. So Luke Hilly places the ball on the penalty spot, looking for his 2nd goal of the match. Campagnolo in net. In the 64th minute, it's Hilly from 12 yards. Luke Hilly saved, and the clearance from Josa. Colorado escape. They've got a corner to defend, but what a moment as Zach Campagnolo comes up big. We're gonna see some substitutions before this corner kick is taken. Strelnauer making his way off, and if I'm seeing it correctly, Rogelio Garcia off on the far side. So 2 changes coming. The captain, Dauda Amadou, enters alongside Josh Copeland. So 1 change in midfield, 1 change in attack. Copeland, if it's a like-for-like switch, will go out to the right. Amadou, you'll expect to sit in the defensive midfield position that Strelnauer was in. Corner coming from Chandler. It's a deep service. Hilly's there. He was wrapped up momentarily by Rinaldi, who smartly let go. Another look at how the penalty kick came about. Noor working against Sinanu. And the Colorado defenders furious, but they will feel like the ball told the truth. with help from Campagnolo, who read that like a book and was able to go down to his left and save it in a perfect pocket. As Hilly left that one at a middle height, not all the way into the corner. The captain fails to convert his second goal of the night. Could that change the momentum for Colorado? Some subs coming in right after as well. Minnesota United, such a big chance for them to go ahead of this match, and we see some more contact on that last play. Eventually whistled against Rapids 2. A deep defensive line coming in for Colorado. Koloff. Backstick ball, centered, but not far enough to avoid Hossa. Amadou plays it out. This portion of the match is brought to you by the experts at Allina Health, an altogether better kind of healthcare. Learn more at allinahealth.org. Copeland with his first touches in attack. Out for Anthony Garcia. The Honduran searching for a teammate. Out for a corner for Colorado. Set up a line of three right at the penalty spot. That's where my eyes are immediately drawn. Couple at the front post as well. It's in that front post area. Out comes Rizvanovic, who was able to slap it away. Putt across to Koloff. He's got help from Noor. Drew that penalty kick a few minutes ago. Great cut inside for Martinez. Perkins in support. Koloff picks it up. And Ferris finds the forward pass. Noor, space to move inside. Sinanu beaten to it initially by Martinez, then recovers well. He passes out for Copeland. Up the line for Bilo Diop, and miscalculated his touch around the corner. Putt coming in Fields. He's got Hilly to his left. A couple of white shirts in front of him. New Zealand native. Drops it back for Koloff. Kurt Koloff, spin from Hilly. Hossa's able to poke it out, but only as far as the next attacker. Sent over the end line. And now we have some subs on the way. The introduction of Momo Kamara, an exciting new signing for Minnesota United, a full Sierra Leone international. He captained the under-20 team, playing alongside Kabia. So we will see him replace Aiden Martinez in midfield, so he could go into that number 10 position. We'll see exactly how they line up after this change. But keep an eye on number 93. Jeremy Hall calls him a game changer. Said he's still in that process of adapting after his move from Sierra Leone. Here he is on the ball, getting his first touches and playing it around the corner, looking to combine with Chandler. You can see the attention that he draws as he continues his run. Just his second appearance. He got his first spell off the bench against LAFC on Wednesday. And they've got him for just over 20 minutes tonight. See if he can tack on a second goal for Minnesota United. According to Coach Hall, he was training with the first team on Friday and already a player that the ones have their eyes on. Said he hopes that he can get the player to that level, but right now he's going to be a huge addition for this Minnesota United team as they try to make a run in the second half of the season. Here's Kamara on the ball again, stinging a pass forward, and it checks up on the turf. Sinanu frustrated that his keeper didn't help him out, but it's sent out of play, and a Minnesota United throw-in coming. They've been dangerous with these in the first half, but they did have Kip Keller as the man throwing a lot of them in. He departed at halftime, so we'll see what kind of option they have available. They will, in fact, take it short. Pressure stepping up is Copeland. Perkins cuts it around for Koloff. Hilly in front of him. Koloff finds some space. Happy to dish it off. Kamara and his opening goal for Minnesota. Straight from Sierra Leone into the left-hand corner. 2-0 to the Twos. They're turning National Sports Center Stadium into a dance floor. And Koloff, so unselfish for his 5th assist of the season. Every opportunity to shoot, and the croqueta pass to put it on a plate. And Kamara gobbled that up. Kavia and Kamara getting the party started in the corner. Alpha Kavia, his countryman, has been helping Kamara adjust to his new life in the States. Coach Hall saying that the whole staff, from the player care team to the coaches to everybody in the squad, have been arms wide open for Momo Kamara, and it's taken him less than 5 minutes in this match to score his first goal for Minnesota United 2. Could Mubanor add to the damage? No, he was offside. He knew that Kamara would have that goal-scoring ability straight away. He was the leading scorer in that under-20 African Cup of Nations tournament for Sierra Leone. They lost in their first round of the knockout stage, but in the group stage, he had a hat trick against Egypt and finished the competition with 4 goals as the top scorer. Took a while to get his papers and his visa sorted out, but now into training, and you could just immediately see the level rise for Minnesota when he entered the field. The ball moving a little bit quicker, even when it was with players besides Kamara. Certain players have that impact on a team. They just raise the level, and that's why he was called into his national team for some World Cup qualifiers earlier this year, and why he was named the captain for that under-20 continental tournament. What do Rapids have in response? Yellow card issued there to Luke Hilly, who has done as much defending as he has attacking, and I mean that in an admirable sense. He's really fought for his team in this one after scoring that opening goal to put the Twos in front.
Substitutions for Colorado
Two defenders ready to enter for Colorado. Off comes Anthony Garcia. And Vincent Rinaldi takes a seat as well. So looks like Harper will come in as the center back replacement for Rinaldi. Curious to see where Cameron lines up. He often plays as a right back, but may be tasked with a little bit more attacking impetus. Curled in by Pinto. Couldn't get it all the way to his teammates. Copeland as Wathuda is able to earn a corner here. He was casual with the touch. And the referee just trying to lower the temperature a bit. If Colorado were to score quickly here, could definitely change the dynamic of these last 15 minutes or so. Pinto inside, falls for Bilo Diop. Rizvanovic looked like he was in some danger. It's out to Kamara, and that will be dangerous for Colorado. He turns, he looks for the through ball, headed away by Stevie Flores, who was covering the middle on that corner kick opportunity. Boy, that was so close to falling for Colorado, and in that little bit of discipline before we took the corner. There was a yellow handed out to Minnesota. Kieran Chandler went in the book. We're gonna get another look at the opportunity that arose from the corner kick. The first header from Sinanu, and Bilo Diop just wasn't ready for it. It looks like Rizvanovic took a blow to the face from Bilo Diop, and I believe he's the player getting some attention as we take a moment to pause and check on the Minnesota goalkeeper. A goal inside 60 seconds from Luke Hilly in this one. Put Minnesota United in front from nearly the opening kickoff. He had an opportunity to double the lead from the penalty spot. Zach Campagnolo coming up with a save for Colorado here in the second half, but shortly after, Momo Kamara entered the game and completely changed it. He scored within 5 minutes of his introduction, a 72nd minute goal to put the Twos in front by a pair of goals, and they are in good position, but some concern over the health of their goalkeeper. You can see Chandler here, looks like making that substitution sign, and Rizvanovic appears to be unstrapping his gloves. Looks like Chandler getting his man some new gloves. They probably got some blood on them and needed to be replaced. So it'll be Kai Zaroon who is quickly trying to get himself warmed up, but that gives us a chance to look back at the action so far. Our opening goal, you just saw the tail end of there, was that Hilly header off the corner, and then Koloff setting up Kamara. What a finish that was. Past the outstretched Campagnolo, who showed his stuff with a penalty save earlier in the half, but no chance to keep that one out. And just the joy on the Minnesota players. What a great sight for these home fans. They've only seen one win here at National Sports Center Stadium this season. But Minnesota United in good shape heading into the final 10 minutes plus stoppage time. Looks like their goalkeeper's been patched up and no replacement necessary. Colorado, the attack has been blunt without Colton Swan. Rising star of the match week who scored in the last game. Bilo Giap has not made the most of his limited opportunities in this match. Here comes Muba Noor. Making the most of the space in behind. He's got Koloff for company. Now it's Chandler. Great drop of the shoulder. Perkins. Across to Putt. Couldn't center it accurately enough for Kamara. But smooth buildup from Minnesota. Noor has shown in the second half how he can add that extra element to the Twos' attack. He drew that penalty kick. They weren't able to convert. And his speed and dynamism on the counter has just opened the whole game up for everybody else, as has the brilliance of Kamara since he's entered. This lineup that they've got on the pitch could really go toe-to-toe with just about any back line in Next Pro and cause a lot of problems. Flores can't find a cross, but it falls free. Pinto straight into the ground. Sometimes that can be a good technique, but the way this turf has played, all it did was soften that shot before it got to Rizvanovic, who makes a grateful save after being shaken up a couple minutes ago, so he's got his legs back under him now. Approaching the final stages. And this portion of the match is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Minnesota. You and Blue, better together. Kamara the decoy. Putt looking forward. It's bounced by way of Kamara yet again. Hilly wins another foul for Minnesota United. Breathless work put forward by the big number 9 today from the opening whistle. He'll be forgiven for his penalty miss with everything else he's added to the team, including a goal of his own. Koloff. Big header from Colorado as Harper gets it away. Copeland moving quickly out to Wathuda. Serve back post. Arriving late, it was James Cameron, and he threw the Minnesota defender past the goal and off the pitch. Trying to see exactly who that was. It was Alpha Cabia. He was trying to decide whether he should stay on or off the field to get some attention here. honorable move to stay behind the goal. That way the play can continue. But it will be held up here by Caitlin Trowbridge, and she signals that she will add the time on after. So there is going to be a good chunk of stoppage time. We are not 5 minutes from the end of this one. Had that long break to check on Rizvanovic, and now likewise for Kabia. So Minnesota United may have to defend this set piece down a man, and down a big one at that. Because he did step off, he will have to go back to the midfield line before he's allowed back on by a referee. Colorado a man up for the corner, to be taken by Malik Pinto. Chipped in. Second header, Bilo Giap. Can't fashion a shot, and not for the first time. We've had 2 recent opportunities where the ball has fallen right in front of the goal and not able to snap a shot at Rizvanovic. Out for another corner. Kabia back on the pitch to defend this one. So we're 11 versus 11 yet again. The services have been soft from Pinto. See if we can get any more heat on this delivery. Rizvanovic, a one-on-one battle, comes out. Well defended by Kabia as he got back on the pitch and made an impact on that defensive set piece. Cameron was all over the Minnesota goalkeeper, making life difficult. Rapids looking for a way back into this match, knowing there's a lot of stoppage time to come. Should Minnesota claim all 3 points, it would open the door for a number of teams in the West. Houston Dynamo in 5th place, also picking up a loss today to St. Louis. And with 3rd and 5th place stagnant, everybody else in that big group of teams that's only separated by about 7 points from 3rd all the way down to 13th, with chances to move up. A few of those teams in play tomorrow. One of them, of course, is Minnesota United. It's the ball played over the top, looking for Josh Copeland. Inside, Bilo Giap. And he's seen off of it by Fisher. Perfect defending. Bilo Giap has not been at the races tonight. Ball played behind Koloff. Could present an opportunity to Colorado. Watuda past Perkins goes down. Easy decision for the referee. Watuda pulled up, and this is how it happens. The price of being a good dribbler on full display in our pictures there. Watuda has the double damage of being very deft with the ball and having very long limbs that are easy for the defenders to get a piece of. So he gets a little bit of extra treatment before this set piece, and that stoppage time keeps on adding up. There's really not a lot of attacking options left on the bench. Copeland was the only true attacker available from the start today in the Colorado subs. The likes of James Cameron, who often plays at fullback, has been put on as a winger. But really nobody left on the bench who can play as a 10. You got Josh Balluz, the only unused sub at this point, and he was questionable coming into this match with a hamstring. So 6 minutes to be added. Might be a little bit more, depending if they had already factored in this break for Wathuta. It will be fully at the discretion of Caitlin Trowbridge, but we will play at least 6 more. Colorado down 2 goals, down a man for the moment. Trying to make this interesting in stoppage time and avoid a 5th straight shutout defeat against Minnesota United. Big header away. Two balls on the pitch. Here's Pinto. Forced to relocate the throw in. Down goes Flores, a little bit of contact, and the assistant referee was right there. Points for a goal kick, and then taps his chest. Says, my bad. Going for a corner. One sub being prepared for Minnesota United, and we will see a first appearance of the season for Cage Romanchin, 20-year-old out of St. Paul, who has not seen the pitch at all this year, but this is his 30th appearance of his twos career in MLS Next Pro. 3 goals and 2 assists over that time. Corner sent low, flicked on. Cameron did his part, but nobody in the middle, which has been a theme tonight for Colorado. Hossa. Amadou. Copeland combining with Pinto, who goes down. Play continues. Copeland out to Cameron, back to Copeland, and slammed home by Bilo Diop. Minnesota United convinced that it was offside, but it's 2-1. And only Caitlin Trowbridge knows truly how much stoppage time is left, but at least 3 more minutes for Colorado. Beautifully worked through the midfield. That return pass from Cameron, and it's the man at the back post. He's got his hands up. It's Kavia who kept him onside. Bilo Diop in the right place at the right moment, framing the goal. He's able to convert his 3rd of the season.
Scoring for Colorado is 2 in the 90 plus 3 minutes.
Just over 2 minutes of the assigned stoppage time to go. How much more drama will there be before the end of this match? That is Colorado's first goal against Minnesota United since September 24th, 2023, when Remy Cabral, the Rapids legend, scored a second-half hat trick as a substitute in a comeback win, 4-2 in that match. Got a long way to go to reach 4-2 here, but a late lifeline for the road team. And that second goal from Kamara looking like much-needed insurance for Minnesota as they seek to hang on for their 6th win of the season and avoid a penalty shootout. Sent forward by Campagnolo. Colorado in desperation mode. without their typical assortment of attackers between first team duty and the colleges that have come calling, snapping up the likes of Colton Swan. But everybody forward for this free kick in the 6th minute of stoppage time. Blasted forward, it bounces. I think it stays in as well. Amadou picks it up. Left-footed ball, looking for Sinanu. Great composure from Kabia, just to take that extra touch before sending it in the direction of Kamara, who's got Noor. Noor, one-on-one, Muba Noor to end it, and it's a huge save from Campagnolo. Defender tries to head it back to him. Hossa has to clear. Perkins picks it up. He'll be happy in the corner. He goes down, and the whistle does come after a slight pause from Caitlin Trowbridge. So we've passed the given 6 minutes. Minnesota can take some time with this free kick, but as I mentioned before, if you're just tuning in for the final couple minutes of this one, there were a ton of stoppages, including as we went past the 90-minute mark. Here's the last opportunity from Noor, and look at the foot save from Zachary Campagnolo, who's represented his country at the under-18 level. Let's have both of these goalkeepers keeping his team in it. A penalty save in the second half as well. Minnesota could have been high and dry by now. And the Rapids appear to be running out of juice. Perhaps one last launch for Colorado. Harper can't send it into orbit. Kamara with a snapshot. May have been better off saving some time in the attacking half as Campagnolo is able to send it almost into the opposing 18-yard box, but a good clearance from Minnesota. If we're playing to 98, then there may only be a few seconds left. Campagnolo with urgency. Sent forward for Hossa. Towards the end line. This is Cameron. Here's Cameron. Picks it inside. Pinto. Stuttering. Giop. And that was the last chance of the match. A hard-fought home win. Just the second of the season for the Twos of Minnesota United FC. They will spike up in the standings. By how much, we will find out for sure tomorrow. But up to 20 points on the campaign after 13 matches. And they win their 5th straight against Colorado Rapids 2, courtesy of a first-minute goal from Luke Hilly and a 72nd minute tally from Momo Kamara, the new star, as the Sierra Leone native picks up our game-winning goal. That was enough to hold off a stoppage time tally from Mamadou Bilo Giop. So Kamara is our man of the match, and here was the decisive moment. Beautiful play from Koloff, but it's all about that finish, and he tops it off with a little dance by the corner flag of Momo Kamara in just his 2nd appearance with Minnesota United 2, showing flashes of what could be an incredibly exciting career ahead. So fans of the Twos with a much-needed boost, seeing their team pick up a big win at home here. Their 5th, or rather their 6th win of the season. And up the standings they go. What a result for Minnesota United. It's been a pleasure to bring you this one from Blaine, Minnesota for our entire MLS Next Pro crew. I'm Parker Johnson. Once again, our final score, Minnesota 2, Colorado 1. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLS Season Pass.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.